So if you've ever wondered about the volatile nature of voice work, I got one for you. And I know I just posted something a little bit earlier, but I saw this story and it really got my goat. So I had to talk about it. So the Indianapolis Colts football team fired their in-stadium announcer, a guy named Mike Jansen, who had been the guy in the booth in the stadium for 24 years of Colts games. This guy won the job against an audition with 300 other people. He won this job in 1998. And during the preseason, one game during the preseason, not even the regular season, he shows up and he has a sinus infection, but he shows up to work anyway because he knows when you are a voice actor, a voiceover artist, an announcer, someone who makes a living with your voice, there are no sick days in voice work. So he shows up and he starts the job, but he can't finish the game. And during the second quarter, they bring in, last second, they pull in this Colts.com sports writer, J.J. Stankovitz, to finish the game for him. And then afterwards, they fire Mike Jansen. After 24 years, no loyalty at all. It's not like the guy permanently lost his voice. He was just down for the day with a tickle in his throat and he couldn't finish the game. So, and a preseason game at that. So they fired him. He got Wally pipped by J.J. Stankovitz. Of course, Wally Pipp being the Yankees first baseman in 1925. Starting first baseman. Shows up to the game one day with a headache. And the coach says, "You sit down. Lou Gehrig, you go in and you play." And then Gehrig plays 2,100 plus straight games. And Wally Pipp never sees first base again in Yankee Stadium as a starter. So the thing is, again, when you are voice talent anywhere, you cannot be sick. You really have to take care of yourself. You cannot be sick because you will be replaced. I've been Wally Pipped. I've Wally Pipped other people. That's the nature of the beast. But this is a much higher level gig. And I'm sure also that Mike Jansen was being paid a lot more. You know, after 24 seasons, he was probably being paid a lot more than they're paying this, new guy. So I don't know if that's a consideration. But this, of course, is coming from the Colts, who's owned by a guy named Jim Irsay, who recently just fired their head coach. They're losing. He fired their head coach and he hired a former player who has no coaching experience beyond high school. Right? So that's a questionable choice right there. And also Jim Irsay, if you don't know, was involved. Well, okay, so his mistress in 2014, his mistress died of an overdose. I shouldn't be laughing about it, but his mistress died of an overdose in a condo that Irsay bought with team money. So, when you work for people who make questionable decisions, don't be surprised if one of those questionable decisions involves you. But that's just the nature of the beast in voice work. And I had to talk about this because there should never be an illusion that no matter what job you have as a voice artist, unless you have a solid contract that basically says you cannot be fired, and nobody's going to do that. So you are replaceable. So just a little thing to think about. A very depressing and disheartening thing to think about. But I had to talk about it because this really it gets my goat. All right, what do you think? All right, leave a comment. Until next time, this is Mark Yoshimoto Nemkov, fading to black.